here for our regularly scheduled every other Sunday book club.
We're only almost an hour late, but who's paying attention?
Some of us have to work. You guys are probably watching this stuff afterwards. Anyways, you might actually be watching it like 2 years later once the show already started.
That's true.
So, hi, 2 years from now. We are covering...
First of all...
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Audie.
We're the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And now our talk begins. Are we cheersing now?
We should cheers.
Yeah.
The two of us.
Yes, the two. Okay. So we're doing Eye of the World. We are doing chapters 20 through 26. That was your assignment. I read them all last night as I progressively got drunker. So we're going to see.
I read most of them this week because I did get behind, but I did make it.
Yeah, you sure did. And it is getting exciting, at least in my opinion. Well, I have a lot of things to talk about. Okay, but we're just going to go through what actually happened, and then we'll talk about the actual stuff that we want to talk about. So first thing I have is Chased by Fog and Trollocs.
Yes. Oh, yeah, the evil fog.
Yeah, that was very... I think what we're learning here, at least in Shadar Logoth. This was
Shadar
Logoth, or Logoth, or whatever. We're doing great with names. Please remember that we are just picking these names up from the book, and I know it might say how to spell them in the back, I think.
Well, no, yes, I don't know. But I also listened, or when I first read this book, this is the second time reading for me, more recently than your first time reading, I listened to it on book on tape or CD or actually iPod. But so I'm trying to remember how they pronounce
the stuff. Okay, so I think what we're learning at this point in Shadar Logoth, or however we want to call it, is that there are varying degrees of evil, and not everybody's working together.
Oh, yeah.
So there's ancient evils that are dangerous both to our heroes and to the bad guys.
They're just evil. They're just their own evil.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting sort of... I keep imagining it live in the show. Mm-hmm. It's a very exciting first season. If they cover the whole first book, they're constantly in moving. They're constantly on the run. There's somebody on their ass all the time.
Well, and it will be interesting, I think, in the series effect-wise, because trying to make that fog effect, if they deal with that, I mean, in theory, they have to go there regardless because it's part of Matt's main story arc.
Right.
So, but they could also just ignore the fog if it's too technically challenging or it looks cheesy,
Well, from what I understand, Amazon is dumping a crap ton of money into this series. They're giving them season 3 or 4 level of Game of Thrones budget in their first season to make it established because the fan base already exists. There's already a huge fan base for the Eye of the World. So I think we can expect to see some cool fog with the budget. Then I have Split the Party.
Split the Party.
We're all into D&D lately, by the way. Got a lot of D&D references in here.
There's a lot of Lord of the Rings references in here, too.
It just reads like a D&D adventure to me at this point, but it's got a lot of Lord of the Rings in there, too. So, being chased, suddenly the fog comes up in between them, Lan and Moiraine on one side, and all the rest of our poor heroes on the other. So, they have to split the party. And when I guess they get beset upon by Trollocs, everybody screams. But that was my favorite part. Everybody was like, this way! And they all ran in their own directions. It's actually funny, too. I think that's what I'm enjoying, is it is equally as amusing as some of the other things we read. Follow the Red Star. So they're all going to follow the Red Star towards Whitebridge. Right, except that they don't. And then we get our first new POV, which is Perrin. We get Perrin's POV, first POV shift, I think, since the first one, which was
pretty much been Rand.
Yeah, well, it was Lews Therin in the first chapter, the prologue.
The prologue doesn't count.
And then
it's been Rand, I think, consistently until the party split.
Yes, and I think it's very exciting. I'm ready to start seeing more of these characters and kind of inside their mind. Then Tom, Matt, and Rand run into each other, and they head off to the river, the Arendelle, and they mysterious Arenelle, sorry.
Arendelle is Lord of the Rings.
Yes. So on the Arenelle, and they like somehow come across a plot device boat that just like happens to be there, a ferry.
Well, I mean, it was not a ferry; it's a boat going down the river.
Okay, no, you're right. It's a ship.
It's about as uncommon as hitting a riverboat on the Mississippi when you're doing Mark Twain.
Fair enough. Okay, and then this is one of the big things that I wanted to talk about, and I think we're getting a lot of hints here. This is on page 307 for any of you watching.
In your prayer books.
Yeah. Does Rand use the one power here?
When he climbs the...
No.
Oh.
Before that. So there's a section here where he's... Hold on. What did I say? 307. So there's a section here that says the Trollocs arm started forward, driving the splintered shaft, and Rand found the breath for one yell. No. Suddenly the ship lurched, and a boom swung out of the shadows to catch the Trolloc across the chest with a crunch of breaking bones, sweeping it over the side. Which winds up creating the whole issue with what's his name, Gelb. Mm-hmm. And I have more on him later, but Gelb tells everybody, no, I tied this down. There is no reason this boom should have moved. So that...
I didn't notice it then. I was thinking about it later, but yeah.
Well, I actually have a theory about that later spot. About that later. I know what you're talking about, though, when he's up in the crow's nest. So this was my first inclination that Rand used the one power.
One power.
So that's page 307. I found that very, very interesting. So I started paying very close attention to what happens to Rand next. Then we meet Captain Bail Domon, or Damon, or however the F we're calling it.
Right.
He seems like a fun little swashbuckler. Like he standard swashbuckling speech.
Yep.
And
it would probably be Stardust if he went down to his cabin and put on dresses.
That's true. Yeah. I found him to be amusing. I like some of these little side characters. And then Tom spins a tale for them.
Yep.
And basically tells them that they're, these two are like Gleeman's apprentices, and they heard about a treasure, right? They went there to get a treasure.
Yeah, and then they gave him all his money like idiots. So.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? And not only their money, but they gave him the silver coins.
Right.
Which was, a really big deal because that's the way that we find out later Maureen's tracking them. Sorry, I got the hiccups. And then we move on to our secondary POV, which is Nynaeve, or Nynaeve, however we're saying it. We get her POV, maybe. We'll find out in the show. Nynaeve has her first POV. We start to... I really like Nynaeve. She's one of my favorite characters. I love all the female characters in this book. I think they're fantastic and super progressive for a late 80s book. And we get to see a little bit about her tracking skills and some of the things that she can do. She's not just your whatever wisdom. She's got a lot of other skills she's bringing to the table. Then she comes across Maureen and Lan, and we find out that, big surprise, she can use the one power.
Yeah, well, I think, no.
It was so surprising.
But Moraine had already hinted about that.
Right.
That it wasn't just Egwene.
But it does give me sort of an idea of how the Aes Sedai and Tar Valon and all of this
Tar Valon. No, that's true. Tar Valon
is viewed by the rest of the world and the small common folk.
Everyone. I mean, later on, everyone I don't know if Tar Valon has done that to keep people away, but everyone hates them. Well,
they're apparently they have a lot of intrigues. Clearly they like power. They're kind of like the Illuminati, except they're not so secret. They definitely have their hands in all the pots from what I'm understanding. They're constantly scheming.
Well, but that's unfair, I think.
Okay.
I think
Counsel for the defense?
Well, I think Maureen talks about it. It's Tar Valon, the Aes Sedai, I think their overreaching kind of mission is good.
Oppose the Dark One, whatever
oppose the Dark One, But of course, they're still humans, so some of them want the power for power's sake, and others, we're assuming Moraine for now, some of them are doing the good they're meant to do. And But she admits that, yes, yeah, you can go, and the Emerald Sea could be like, oh, is this going to make things better for me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but it's not like that is part of the overreaching,
Right.
you know, mission of the Aes Sedai.
And I totally agree with you, but it seems like to the common folks, they're basically dark friends. Like,
Well, but I feel like it's unwarranted. So, I mean, I wonder if it's something that's like, we don't want people messing with us, so let's put it out there that they don't want to mess with us.
that's very possible.
And,
I mean,
you know,
they're very powerful. And then we move into what actually, like, one of the big things is they start, Moraine starts to describe to Nynaeve how she discovered, like, how Nynaeve discovered that she has the one power. And all the symptoms that she went through, which I have on page 320. And one of the things that stood out to me was because I had assumed and thought that Rand had used the one power there to lurch the ship. So I said, you know, start watching for these symptoms in Rand. And some of the symptoms are sudden fevers and chills
okay.
and reckless behavior.
Okay.
So
when he went
sudden,
up on,
she says, headaches and numbness and exhilaration all mixed together, and you taking foolish chances or acting giddy.
Okay.
So I was like,
Wow,
"Ooh,
Detective Adi right here."
I'm picking up what you are putting down, Mr. Jordan." So,
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense why that happens kind of then.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, okay.
So that's
I didn't read this book, apparently. I feel horrible.
I don't remember anything, so I'm paying attention to every single little thing because, not to bring up Game of Thrones again, but that's going to happen a lot. A lot of things that happen later in Game of Thrones were prophesized in the first book. So I am looking at this book the same way. Like, this is all prophecies and stuff that's going to mean something later. So, and then the other thing that we find out is if you don't go to school, you die. So if somebody who naturally can touch the true source and wield the one power,
they don't get trained on how to control it, it'll kill them.
And and Nynaeve remembers several of the like potential wisdoms that have died horribly. It's not just like a whatever death; it's a terrible death. So, and then we have split the party again. Moraine knows that Perrin is across the river. She has no idea where Egwene is, and the three of them start heading towards Whitebridge. Right, Whitebridge? Yeah, Whitebridge.
Well, if they don't split the party again, it's still split.
But like they're like going off on a journey. They're not just splitting a party.
Well, no, but they're going to Whitebridge because that was the best guess as to which direction Matt and Rand went based on where she lost connection with the coins.
And I think this is where we finally...
And knowing that Perrin still has his coin, she can be like, I'll find him later.
Right.
Let's, catch up to these guys before we totally lose their trail.
So that occurs. Then I have Perrin Survivor Man. What does that mean? Oh, yeah. And so Perrin is basically like... Yeah, no, he's like, I'm going to set some traps, I'm going to make a fire, I'm going to do all this shit, and then he's like, nah, I'm just going to go. But he does really well at tracking. He kind of like keeps to the bushes, he moves along the riverbank, and he finds the tracks with Maester Luwin's,
Horseshoes.
Master, sorry, not Maester. That's wrong genre. Master Luwin's horseshoe imprint. So, and he
it's
goes
like when
off
you're on a
to
quiz
find...
show and you answer all the questions as a question.
Right. And then he finds Egwene, and then I have hangry on the road to Caemlyn. Because they have no food, they're not catching anything, they're having a terrible time on their road to Caemlyn.
So not exactly survival man.
Yeah, nope, not so much. And then I have everyone in Edmund's Field is a rogue, because apparently everybody can like trap and hunt. Now I know they're not having luck, but they're all like, they all know how to trap and how to...
country folk, and you have fields and rabbits and stuff, so...
But it is interesting that the Edmund's Field people like come with this set of skills existing. Like, they're not useless. You know what I mean? They're not just like a bunch of idiots bumbling around. Sure, they don't know how to use their weapons. And our new friend that's about to show up does call them bumbling idiots quite a few times.
Well, because they were kind of stumbling around in the dark.
But they at least have a few skills. They're not starting at 0. I feel like they're like level 2 rogues.
Right. Okay.
Enter Elias. Elias, whatever. Again. So they come across a guy who's got a whole bunch of rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
And they...
And puppies!
Yep, I have...
See, Kate, you have to catch up because they're wolves.
This is literally my note. Wolves. Kate would pet these wolves in an instant. Also, wolf names are complicated.
What?
Because he described... Hold on, I have the page number here because this, like, literally cracked me up. And he says, her name isn't Dapple. It's something that means the way shadows play on a forest pool at midwinter dawn with the breeze rippling the surface and the tang of ice when the water touches the tongue and a hint of snow before nightfall in the air.
Which describes Dapple.
Wolf names are complicated.
No, they're not complicated. They don't have the words. He put the word to the imagery.
And so they hang out with them. The wolves like show up out of nowhere, make Egwene extremely uncomfortable.
Well, because when they left Eamon's Field, the wolves were bad news.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, wolves were not their friends in Eamon's Field.
Mm-hmm. So she's super freaked out, but instead we find out that the wolves think Perrin can speak to them.
Yes.
So we get our first hint of why there was a wolf around Perrin when Min saw him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
he's got that connection. I'm super excited about this, you know, like growing and being built. And man, his powers develop like super fast.
Well, I think he just had to have a connection.
Yeah.
To
well, the
a
wolves
wolf.
maybe had to like open their, you know, hearts or whatever to
Or
him.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if they had a lot of wolves around Eamon's Field. I think they were out and they were coming in closer. So he had to have a direct experience. I feel like it was at that point he stopped having dreams.
Yeah, because in his dreams it was a wolf guarding him from
Right.
the evil dreams.
Right, but I think it's like once he was recognized as a wolf friend or whatever they want to call it,
He was no longer
he was
wanted.
no longer a candidate for the Dragon Reborn.
Yep. I agree with you for that. And here I have a little bit about foreshadowing. I want to talk more about foreshadowing later, but we get a little bit of what Elias went through when he first started discovering his powers.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about how like people didn't want him around, they didn't want him in the cities
Because they thought it was the one power.
right. And also because he's got a bunch of wolves hanging out with him. And then like the people that did approach him were not the kind of people that you wanted to spend time with. And I think like now it's basically another form of foreshadowing, like, hey Perrin, here's what's going to happen to you. You know, people that are not of good quality are going to come to him and try to convince him to do stuff. And then he's going to be sort of like not accepted in a lot of places and things like that. So I think he's going to experience a lot of... and then I have a note, page 35, exclamation point, just page 35, 345. So I have to see what this is because I don't know what this is. Oh, this is Elias? Elias talking about being gentled.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the men who do touch the one power, they have to be gentled or they'll go crazy and blow shit up.
Yeah, and then it talks about like how he had to kill a bunch of warders. They all came after him, and how the gentling wouldn't have worked on him. But this was it. Old as wolves. They don't like that either, Aes Sedai. Old things coming again. I'm not the only one. There are other things, other folks. Makes Aes Sedai nervous. Makes them mutter about ancient barriers weakening. Mm-hmm. So it seems like people starting to develop these individual powers or these growing shows a weakening in the barrier between, like, I guess the Dark One and...
Right. I don't think getting rid of him is going to shore that barrier up.
No.
I mean, if it's weakening, it's weakening.
So that actually connects to something else that I have for later, which is the Tinkers. So wolves just inviting themselves on the trip, so awkward. Mm-hmm. Egwene was like, wait, but just imagine that you're like traveling companions together. You meet a super awkward person with a bunch of weird pets, and they're like, we're going to travel with you. No, you may not leave us behind. And you're just like, oh shit, this was awkward before. At least we're going to eat.
That's right. Because Elias did not catch all those rabbits.
Mm-hmm, that's true. Rand walks on skulls. Page 351.
Oh, that must be when he goes up the.
Oh, this is his dream. He has a dream.
Oh, walks on the skulls. Yes.
He has a dream of
I heard
wandering.
skull like a ship skull.
He wanders around in basically a giant maze that looks like Barlon or Baerlon.
Baerlon or the Baerlon or the garden maze. It was like a hedge maze.
I think really what jumped out to me was how surprised Balzaman was that he was there. Like when they ran into each other face to face, it's not like Balzaman was hunting for him. He was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And,
I mean, I thought he was hunting for him, and he just didn't expect him to come rushing behind from around that corner.
Well, and he talks about like, we've had several encounters before. I can't really remember them. I think that that's like the spirit of the Dragon Reborn. I think that the Dragon Reborn has happened a few times, or at least they've tried, and there's been confrontations with Balzaman. I think that's what it refers to. But that's, me reading into stuff too much. And then we get another Rand waking up with physical marks of his...
Oh, yeah. From the thorn.
Yeah, of his dreams. Gelb is going to be a problem, is what I have next.
Gelb's
that guy's such a
asshole.
whiny... He fucking worm tongue right there.
Whiny little bitch.
Drink for hating Gelb. Everybody hates Gelb. No one likes you, dude. Get over it. Just get off the ship and go make some new friends because nobody likes you. Okay, this is another one of the really big things that I have, which is, hold on, let me find all the pages so I know what I'm talking about. So remember when we were when they were still in Baerlon, I think in Baerlon, and Tom starts telling the story of 242 starts telling the story of the Great Hunt, right? And he says, to the 8 corners of the world the hunters ride, to 8 pillars of heaven, where the winds of time blow and fate seizes the mighty and the small alike by the forelock. The 8 pillars of heaven really stood out to me. And then on page 356, Captain Damon starts describing all sorts of very interesting and mysterious locations, many of which have spires or pillars and things like that. I think here we're getting a foreshadowing of what's going to happen in the second book. We're getting a foreshadowing of some of the places that they have to go to find these spires.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it foreshadowing, but by the end of this section, they're calling people together for the Great Hunt.
Well, and we know that they're going to do a Great Hunt, but I think that this is specific to the locations. Like Matt and Rand are hearing these places right now, and I think it will help give them direction to where to go.
Okay.
And that's my assumption. Then I have Rand pulls a Tom Cruise on top of the mast. So...
Tom Cruise?
Yeah, when he acted all crazy and jumped on the couch. I don't know.
Oh.
Again, these are getting progressively drunker. So.
Okay.
So this to me was an example of Rand doing exactly the things that were foreshadowed would happen when you use the one power.
Okay.
So. And everybody thinks he is nuts. Basically,
well, yeah.
Everybody's like, what the F are you doing? And then at the same time, we find out that once again, I'm going to start drinking for this. Once again, Matt is a fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah. Matt is fucking idiot.
Matt is an idiot. He is worse than Pippin. I vote he's worse than Pippin at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He took the knife. And then...
Well, you didn't give him a chance to put the knife down. And he wasn't given the knife. He took it.
Yeah. I'm like, what the... And what is weird to me is Rand keeps being like, okay, cool, no problem, brah. Like, hello? Have you not been paying attention? Your friend is on heroin. Like, help him out. Get him to rehab.
I think he said that to not set Matt off.
Okay.
And he's going to keep an eye on Matt.
Because he's basically like, sure, I'll keep your secret about this creepy object.
Yeah, because I don't think he wants to confront him. He doesn't know enough about, not enough is happening. He doesn't know enough about the situation. He's like, I'm not going to confront him. I'm just going to say, okay, yeah, we won't stay calm. We won't tell anyone. Mm-hmm. And then we'll see as time goes on how that works out.
Then after they, who runs into the? Oh yeah. So after this is back to Perrin and Egwene. They meet the Tinkers.
The Tinkers, Taylor, Soldier Spy.
Those guys are so cute, and I'm for sure putting them in my D&D campaign. Like, I just love everything about them.
Well,
They're like
we
gypsies.
don't know everything about the Tinkers yet.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know everything about them. But what did I have? Oh, Rian is what I'm calling him. Rian? Rain? Whatever.
I think Rain.
We're doing this again.
Rian is Dark Crystal.
I have Rian or Reen equals Jesus. Preaching your message of peace. Get out of my town, cultist. So it seems like they go around preaching their message of no violence to anybody. And towns are reacting to that by kicking them out.
Right.
Very Jesus-y motif. But apparently, like, people are, like, getting into this whole ideology and running, like, young kids or, like, progressive young children are running away with the circus, basically, and like taking on. So they're considered cultists, and they're kind of unwanted, which I guess is why they're friends with Elias. But the big thing that we learn here is Rain's tale. Rain tells them a tale. First of all, Logain has been caught.
Right.
Logain, hold on, I don't know what pages I'm on anymore. So I'm trying to remember what his tale
is his tale about Logain?
No. Hold on. Hold please, internet.
Yeah, no.
Oh, about the ale in the ale waste.
The ale in the ale waste, yes.
Yes. So first thing he does say is that Logain has been caught by the Aes Sedai.
Okay.
And he is being. Oh no, actually, I think that might be in.
That's in White.
That might be later.
Whitebridge.
Yep. Sorry.
In
no.
White Castle, got a burger.
Yeah.
In Whitebridge.
Sorry. No, that is after. I just didn't make the distinction. So Rain's tale is
it's about the ale waste and
the fact that Trollocs have made it way further south than anybody anticipates, and that one of the I don't know what they call them, the ale women. I like that the ale women can be Maidens of the Spear. That's it.
Right.
So these who are by far way cooler than the Sand Snakes. Let me just throw that in there real quick.
It's such a bad rap from these people.
Terrible characters. In the ale waste, like, nearly nobody goes into the ale waste. It's sort of beyond the spine of the world. You don't even get to see it much on the map. I believe later in future books you do get a little more view of the ale waste. But apparently they're like super racist over there or something. I didn't quite understand all the like social entanglements that were happening. But a bunch of Maidens of the Spear were found dead in Ale of the Waste. Only one was alive.
Yes.
But they were found by other Tinkers who, like, they don't get along. And the one that was remaining basically said, look, the Dark One's coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Alemen don't get along with anybody.
Yeah.
Not just Tinkers.
Oh, okay, I didn't catch that.
They don't get along with anybody.
Okay. They're very private, yeah.
Yes.
So something mysterious is going on over there. I'm sure we'll wind up in the ale waste eventually. But basically, this is like it's the first big, huge declaration that, hey, Dark One's back.
Shit is coming.
The gate's opening.
Coming down.
Yeah, he who comes with the dawn, etc. And this is after they were coming down from the Blight. So they know what they're talking about because they were in the Blight. They ran south, got killed by Trollocs who pursued them to stop them from telling this. Because that's why they were pursued so far into the Ale Waste, is to stop them from telling this tale. One survived, barely, and told it. So...
And told the people she hated.
Yeah. So, and then after that is Logain is caught.
Yes, and that's in
Whitebridge. Where
in the tavern, in the inn.
That was very Dungeons and Dragons. Let's talk to the innkeeper because he's got all the information.
Dungeons and Dragons at all. It's fantasy.
Fair enough. And they find out from him that Logain has been caught. Not only has he been caught by the Aes Sedai, he is now being paraded around all the main towns All his followers scattered, running in with some of the refugees, so they didn't really catch a whole lot of his followers. They did catch him, and they are on their way to Camelin.
Yes.
And I have OMG, False Dragon, and our heroes heading in the same direction.
Well, yeah, we're halfway through the book. Something's got to happen.
Yep, everything's going to go down in Camelin. Poor Camelin doesn't even know what it's about to hit it. And then we have a little bit more on the hunt. The hunt is officially declared as on. I don't know why I have foreshadowing everywhere. I don't know. It's just like exclamation foreshadowing. That they're
It has
all...
that in all caps.
I think it's because of the way... that's what it is. So if we assume, and again, this is an assumption because I don't remember this or not, though this is a fairly educated assumption, that Rand is the Dragon Reborn, then this is a foreshadowing of what will happen to him if he is caught. He will be paraded around all of the towns and then taken to Tarvalon. Tarvalon for...
Tarvalon. But here's the deal.
Gentling.
Here's the deal that we don't know truly what happens. Because I think what the issues that we're going to deal with and the things that they have foreshadowed is that Moiraine, being one of our heroes, in theory, she will recognize Rand as the true Dragon Reborn, but everyone else will cry bullshit. And so he will be hunted by the Red Aja. Yeah, because what is happening to Logain isn't because he's the Dragon Reborn, it's because he's a false dragon. He's someone who's touched the One Power, a man who's touched the One Power, because I think, to me, the assumption is the true Dragon Reborn will be able to channel the One Power.
But Logain could channel the One Power.
But it was driving him nuts.
But I disagree a little bit on this because...
Or the assumption is that if he's not the true Dragon Reborn, it will drive him nuts. Yeah. And he'll just be, and
but
so they have to cut off his balls to make him stop.
But here's the thing. Originally, the original dragon was driven insane. And many of the other alleged Dragon Reborns have been driven insane if they could use the One Power.
They are false dragons. And I think the cycle bringing it around is that the second time around, it works the way it's supposed to.
I mean, that's definitely an assumption that could happen because, we're probably going to be with this character for a long time.
But,
my guess is he'll probably start going mad and they'll search for a way to stop it, to remove the taint. Sorry, that sounds really bad.
But even still, he will not be crazy. He will not have to be put down.
Yeah, but I don't think, I think even if it was said, oh, this is the real Dragon Reborn, I don't think the Aes Sedai would support him and Tarvalon would support him. I think they would still be like, even if you're the real Dragon Reborn, the last dragon broke the world. So they don't, whether he's there to stop the Dark One or not, they ain't having none of it.
Well, but what's the whole prophecy about the Dragon Reborn? Do we have the details on that?
Very vague.
Why do we even want a Dragon Reborn?
Yeah, well, a lot of it has to do, I guess, with the gates opening and all of that. We definitely get a lot of the mystical stuff in this section.
I want to say that the true dragon being reborn, I think is something people are hoping for. Mm-hmm. That the false dragons are dangerous, but the true dragon reborn is something that they look towards.
I guess we'll see. They already assume all the Aes Sedai are dark friends, and now I don't know if they're inclined to believe the best of people, but we'll see as we move along into the story. Personally, I think whether or not he is the real dragon reborn or a false dragon reborn, he's gonna be treated the same way.
The third book is called Dragon Reborn,
so we will definitely figure it out then. And then Tom the hero.
Tom the hero.
That made me sad.
Well, I
hope he's not dead
yet.
As far as we know. We didn't see the body!
There was a blue flash of light, too.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Exactly. What does that mean?
Did he use his bardic inspiration?
Bigby's
hand.
Something went down that I'm sure protected him.
Well, and I don't know if that was Moiraine suddenly showed up or the Fade did something or what, but the Midral was in the middle of the fucking street, in the middle of the daylight, just la-di-da, I'm an evil being. And everybody scattered, running out of the city. People picked up their babies and ran out of the fucking city.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to see that on video. God, I hope that's in the show. I'm hoping like all these big visits in
Well,
the
I mean,
cities
that
are
moment
going to
I
be
think
on
has
there.
to be. I mean, that's also part of Tom's storyline.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Tom. Something weird is happening with Tom. Because, like, why is... I don't believe that whole thing about his nephew. That seems sort of... I mean, that's what he does, is he spins tales. There's a reason he's stuck with this party. And I don't believe it has anything to do with his nephew. I don't know what it is, but something shady going on.
Well, there's 14 books, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll find out.
I don't think he's necessarily like a bad guy, but he's more involved than he's telling. Anyway, those were all my notes. So Tom is or isn't dead. We don't know. Everybody's heading
It's
to
fantasy.
Camelin.
I don't remember. I actually don't remember clearly my memories. I don't know if they're my memories or if they're just made up. But I mean, it's fantasy. It's book one.
Yeah.
It's not George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
And even if it was George R.R. Martin, you don't have a death like that without knowing it's a death.
I need the body, please.
That blue flash of light, I think, is key.
Yep. And then everybody's heading to Camelin. Perrin and Egwene are heading to Camelin through a different road. Moraine and Lan are somewhere between Shadar Logoth and Camelin, possibly in Whitebridge. We don't know where
they were heading towards Whitebridge first.
Yeah, but if she feels that Perrin has moved on, and now there's this huge story about the freaking Fade and everything, because that's going to be told in the town.
Because of the boat and being on foot, or even on the horses. Do they have all the horses? I don't know. No, I guess
I just know she has Bella.
No.
Perrin doesn't have his
Moraine
horse.
and Lan didn't go into the river, so they have their horses.
No, they have Mandrub and what's her name?
And Egwene has her horse. Or
Nynaeve
has her horse. So, but even them on horseback and the boat, with all the trouble the boat was having, who got to Whitebridge first?
I definitely think it was the boat, though, because he was riding those people hard.
Yeah.
The captain was.
And so
they were
near
now, mutiny.
Moraine and Lan are going to hit... Well, they had to get to Whitebridge anyway before they go to Camelin. You can't go to Camelin. The only reason Egwene and Perrin are doing it overland is because they got across the river.
Yes.
So,
also, side note, I think the Whitebridge is going to be important. That thing was so beautiful when they described it. I can't wait to see it. It's an ancient, like, structure from, like, the creation or whatever, the history of Dawn, whatever the crap they're calling it.
Legends.
Yes. I'm like, wait, is that the Golden Gate Bridge? Is this going to be on Earth? Like, what's happening?
No, that's Shannara.
Oh, okay. Oh, spoiler alert. The other thing that
I knew that from the first book. It's fine.
The other thing that we didn't talk about very, very quickly is the innkeeper recognized who the friends were. It seems word is spreading about who they kind of are as like and that they're being hunted. So people in Barrelon know. Now people in Whitebridge know. So wherever they're going, they're leaving a trail behind.
No, well, they're not leaving a trail.
Moraine and Lan are known.
Yes, but I think it's because people are looking for them. They were known in Whitebridge before they got there.
That's because a crazy guy showed up and was acting crazy. I vote for Padden Fane.
I agree.
I definitely think that's Padden.
I think Padden Fane was converted by force. To the Midral.
And I'm wondering if like some kind of corruption is going on in Gelb's mind as well. Like the Dark One reached out to like Rand and him had
an asshole.
You think he's just an asshole?
And
he's definitely. We're not done with him. He's gonna be a problem.
And he created that moment where they had to hide behind that half wall to kept the room separate because he was bitching about him. He was just, and I mean, I think that's. I mean, Gelb. I think we're done with Gelb.
You think so?
Yeah, because he went off and then he went in and he was causing trouble. And if they didn't pay attention to what he was saying, people would have been like, "You." So that caused them to make that escape, run it in the Midral, and cause that separation. So I think Gelb is done.
And we split the party even further.
Yes.
So now it's time for either everybody to come back together in Camelin or something like. I think the climax will happen in Camelin. Whatever we're heading into, because we probably got a little bit more traveling in the next 100 pages. Okay, I'm sorry, but he keeps literally describing the foliage everywhere.
Well, that's
Everywhere
pretty
they're
land.
like, they walked past the crunching leaves and they were like golden brown, and I'm like, ah!
You gotta get a picture.
Anyways, such a picture. Okay, I think we're done for the evening. I was super excited. Like, things are really starting to get more interesting.
So we are about halfway through the book.
We have officially we are beyond halfway through the book
Well,
because the
there's more
book
than
ends at 7 something, and we are at 400.
Oh no, wait, that's
Nope.
after that's the extra shit at the end. It's 782.
Yep.
Yes, we are more than halfway.
We are beyond the halfway point. Good job, you guys. And our next bit goes another
I would say
100
27 through chapter 33.
pages through chapter
So to
33.
page 512.
Perfect. That sounds great. So don't read chapter 34, The Last Village. Read The
Do
Dark
what you
Waits.
want, but we're not going to talk about it.
But that's where we're going to be. All right.
All right, so we're the Knights of Drunk Watch.
And now our talk has ended. Thanks for joining us. See you in 2 weeks.
And I had a screwdriver because I'm trying to be healthy.